All right, let's talk about one of the most amazing logistics networks in the universe. And it's not run by some giant corporation, it's running inside you, right now. We're talking about your circulatory system, the body's ultimate delivery service.
So, to really get why this system is so incredible, you first have to appreciate the problem it's solving. I mean, it is a logistical puzzle on an absolutely epic scale. Just think about that for a second. You're made of trillions of tiny living cells, and every single one of them needs food and oxygen, like right now. And they all produce waste that needs to be hauled away immediately. How on earth does your body manage that for every single cell? Well, the answer is this beautifully elegant, high-speed transport network. It's a whole system made of a specialized fluid, a ridiculously powerful pump, and a web of vessels that reaches literally every corner of your body. That, my friends, is your circulatory system. Okay, so any good delivery service needs something to carry the goods, right? In our bodies, the vehicle and the cargo are all mixed together in one amazing fluid, blood. So let's meet the crew working inside it. You know, you probably think of blood as just red stuff, but it's way more complicated than that. About 55% of it is this yellowish liquid called plasma. That's mostly water, but it's also carrying around hormones and nutrients. But the other 45%? That's where the real action is. We call that part the formed elements. And these are the real workers, the active crew members of your bloodstream. They aren't just floating along for the ride. Each one has a super specialized job to do. Let's break down the three main players on the team. First up, we've got the red blood cells. These guys are the absolute workhorses. Think of them as a massive fleet of tiny delivery trucks. They are packed with a special protein called hemoglobin, which grabs onto oxygen in your lungs and refuses to let go until it finds a cell that needs it. Then you have your white blood cells. If the red cells are the delivery fleet, these guys are the security force. They're like these vigilant soldiers patrolling your body, always on the lookout for nasty invaders like bacteria or viruses, ready to attack and destroy. And rounding out the team, we have platelets. And get this, they're not even whole cells, just tiny little fragments. But their job is so important. They are the emergency repair crew. The second a blood vessel gets damaged, they rush to the scene, clump together, and start the clotting process to plug the leak. Pretty cool, huh?
Of course, a whole fleet of delivery trucks and repair crews is useless if it's just sitting there. You need an engine, a central command, to keep everything moving. And in our circulatory system, that engine is one of the most incredible muscles in your body, the heart. Your heart is just a marvel of biological engineering. It's a 4-chambered pump, and that design allows it to do something amazing called double circulation. Basically, it runs 2 separate circuits at the exact same time, which makes it unbelievably efficient. So here's how that 2-part journey works. First, all the used up, deoxygenated blood from your body comes into the right side of the heart. The heart then gives it a push on a quick trip over to the lungs to pick up fresh oxygen. Then, that newly oxygenated blood comes back, but this time it goes to the left side of the heart. And from there, the super powerful left ventricle gives it a massive shove, sending it out to the rest of the body. 2 pumps, 1 organ, working in perfect harmony. We all know that our heart beats, right? But what's actually going on during that familiar thump-thump? Well, it's a perfectly timed sequence of squeezing and relaxing called the cardiac cycle. Now here's the really mind-blowing part. Your heart doesn't wait for your brain to tell it to beat. Nope. It has its own internal pacemaker, a tiny patch of tissue called the sinoatrial node, or SAN. It just sits there firing off its own little electrical pulse about 70 to 75 times a minute, every minute of your life, telling your heart when to beat. So what about that lub-dub sound you hear through a stethoscope? It's not the sound of the muscle contracting. It's actually the sound of tiny doors, the heart valves, snapping shut. The lub is the first set of valves closing, and the dub you hear a split second later, that's the second set of valves at the exits closing. It's the sound of perfect mechanical timing. So just how much work is this pump doing? Well, get this. With each beat, your heart pumps out about 70 milliliters of blood. Doesn't sound like much, right? But multiply that by about 72 beats a minute, and you get around 5 liters. 5 liters of blood pumped every single minute. That's basically your body's entire blood supply, circulated every 60 seconds. Just wow. Now, this whole system is incredibly resilient, but it's not invincible. And understanding what can go wrong really drives home why it's so important to take care of it.
This stuff matters because keeping this delivery service running smoothly is, well, everything.
Let's just touch on a few common issues. Hypertension, that's high blood pressure, puts a constant damaging strain on the whole network. Then there's coronary artery disease, which is when the actual pipes feeding the heart muscle itself start to get clogged. And heart failure, which doesn't mean your heart stops, by the way. It just means the pump has gotten too weak to keep up with what your body needs. It really shows you how delicate the balance is.
So we'll end on this thought. Your heart beats over 100,000 times a day. It doesn't ask for a break. It doesn't take a vacation. So the next time you feel your own pulse, that quiet, steady rhythm, just take a moment and think about what that rhythm really represents. It's the sound of the most reliable, tireless engine you will ever own.